All right, everybody, we are live again. Dynasty Mir Search for Uhuru. And I have the brother, my good brother that I've known personally now for probably about, let's see, Mark, we known each other about 5 years now. Five, six
About
years.
5 years.
5, 6 years
Yes,
now.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
about
sir.
5, 6 years. And today's topic, because people have been asking, what exactly is the Nation of Islam doing for black people today? A lot of people have been asking, brother. Mario X has been part of the nation for the past what, like 3 years, maybe
Since 2014. Yes, sir.
2014. Okay, so about four
Right.
years now. So, I think it's best to have somebody who's actually part of the nation or organization that you have questions about, instead of having discussions where you had where in which you're in a position where either that person or the person of a certain organization can't defend themselves. Um,
Yeah.
so brother, first tell us your story, why you joined the nation and all that
Yes,
good
sir.
stuff, and then we'll get into the questions that many people have when it comes to the nation.
Sure. If you don't mind, I would like to start. All good things within the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is but one God, who's called by many names, but in which we believe his proper name is Allah, and who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I bear witness that upon his arrival, he made a wise choice in the most honorable Elijah Muhammad to be our leader, teacher, and guide today. And if it was not for the love of both of them, for leaving in our midst an example of their teachings and a man that lives in, he pretty much bears witness that if you submit to the will of the creator of the heavens and the earth, that you can be successful. I speak about none other than the most honorable brother, Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I would like to greet your audience and greet you, Brother Dynasty Samir, with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Uh, Alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. Praise for Allah. Yes, sir. A little bit about myself. From East St. Louis, Illinois. Born and raised in East St. Louis, Illinois. My story, brother, is rather unique. I didn't grow up anyone in my immediate family or otherwise who was Muslim or practicing Muslims. To better clarify, I graduated high school. I was 20 years old. Um, Half learned. I mean, I had an ACT score of 10 or 11. That was my ACT score. My GPA at the time was a 1.3 when I graduated. Very intelligent as it relates to, what was going on around me, but I didn't have the proper example in regards to how to apply myself to pull out the best of myself. So I did attend college. I got my bachelor's, and I did go on last year to obtain my master's. And I've been in the nation since 2014. So I first heard the teachings of Islam while doing travels in Africa. I was in West Africa, of the Gambia. I visited Dakar and Jufre, Senegal, and it was there that I first was introduced to Islam. And I came back to America and started doing some searching. And now searching, I ran across a little man named Elijah, and he said that he had a message for us, and he wrote a note in the form of a book called "The Message to the Black Man." And as a college student looking for leadership and guidance, I read this book, and the rest has been history. And I currently reside in Oklahoma City, where I'm a part of the Oklahoma City Study Group under the student coordinator leadership of Terry Muhammad.
Okay, so let's start off with the. I'm pretty sure you've been asked these questions before,
Okay.
but so people could get clarity in the chat room that I'm pretty sure might have the same questions. Let's start off with Farad Muhammad.
Okay.
Now, people say Farad Muhammad was a white guy.
Okay.
What would be your response to that?
Uh, they're saying, okay, Farad Muhammad was a white man. The first thing that you have to do is, did that man say he was a white man? You know, you have to go to the information that Farad left us with. Did Farad say that I am a European man? And his work bears witness to answer that question. Did he give this teaching to the European Caucasian man of that time? No, he said that he was a black man. And who's better qualified to answer that question than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, whom he taught for over 3 years. So, I mean, I think that question, brother, a lot of people make false accusations to say that Farrar was a white man. No, he told us that his father was jet black and his mother was Caucasian, but that was for a particular reason, so that he could judge between the two people, you know. And I think that it's evident for those who are a little bit versed in the Bible to know that the Bible says that he will come unnoticed. Now, unnoticed meaning exactly as it sounds, he was unnoticed. So if he had come looking like his father, he would have been noticed, because those of the world who are wise and knew that someone was coming for us, they were looking for a black man to come. But Farrar was able to come into America in and out, and they not be able to observe him because of the way he looked. So to answer your question, Farrar was a black man. His father was a black man.
Okay. So his father was black. Mario. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So his father was black.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Okay. Okay. I
And
guess the
like I
next
said, brother,
question is
when
oh, go ahead.
okay,
Go ahead, brother.
I say, as far as persons who are not too familiar with the nation or not too familiar with what we believe and or what we stand for, you have to do research.
Right.
You have to look. You just have to do questions. Can be intelligent questions. You know, a lot of people make questions and base their questions off of lack of, and they haven't done any prior research. You know, so I would just say for those who get the messenger Elijah Muhammad's books and read what he had to say about Master Farah Muhammad and his genealogy. Bro.
Mhm. All right. Next question is what we'll do. We'll speed. We'll go. We'll, I guess, kind of speed up a little bit, but then go back somewhat. What I mean by that, let's deal with Brother Malcolm. Now, a lot of people want to know, did the Nation of Islam have any involvement, I guess, directly with the assassination of Malcolm X? I think the two brothers that did it were part of the nation, but was this an organized hit, or did these brothers perform this assassination on their own?
Right. And that question has been answered by so many intelligent men
Mhm.
in and out the nation. Even his wife said that this was bigger than the Nation of Islam.
Right, on Vlad
Yeah,
TV, I saw that. Yeah, correct.
yeah. I mean, we love Malcolm, brother, and I think a lot of persons who are aware of the personality of Malcolm, but not necessarily the in-depth history of Malcolm, um, they use that as a way to keep people away from the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad
Hmm.
and Malcolm's love for his teacher. Malcolm loved his teacher. You know, they had differences towards, you know, the end of Malcolm's life before he was assassinated or murdered. But he loved his teacher. Now, I don't like to spend a lot of time on that question, brother,
Oh,
respectfully, because
you don't have to, brother. That's fine.
no, I only say because you know there are better men qualified to answer that question. But no, we did not kill Malcolm, brother. We know that with all black organizations, there have been informants sent in by the government to dismantle organizations, the Black Panthers, you know, the Moore Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, even in prosperous churches who are teaching black people to be self-independent and to give them the identity of themselves, to get up and make these people productive. So a lot of people say that, you know, the Nation of Islam killed Malcolm, you know, because he was growing bigger in his teaching. That's foolishness, brother. We loved Malcolm. You know, Malcolm played a great deal in getting the word out to the people. But upon his unfortunate death, the members of the Nation of Islam did not kill Malcolm.
Okay.
Yes,
The
sir.
how different do you think where would the nation be today? And this is a what if question, if Malcolm wasn't assassinated.
Um, I usually don't like to ask what ifs because they don't exist.
That's okay.
Um,
Understandable.
but I'll say this though. Um, if it had not been Malcolm, it would have been someone else.
Okay.
You know, God just chose to make Malcolm a vessel at that time, and he served his time well. You know, and then on the counter side, we can also ask if the movie of Malcolm X didn't come out to give a bad portrayal in regards to the men of the Nation of Islam and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how many more men will come into the fold?
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So how do you feel about the Spike Lee's Malcolm X? Does the nation approve of that movie or not?
I can only speak for myself.
Okay. How do you feel
I
about that?
think it was a great movie. It gave me uh, his I mean, and I think Denzel played an amazing. He was the right person for it. The bravery and even in his learning the role, teaching it was. I was just watching how the story, and it made it look like the men were envious. And I'm not saying that that didn't exist, but it made it seem as though the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was an unmoral man as relates to his other wives. It made it seem like it wasn't true brotherhood, that as the man began to grow, they wanted to stunt his growth. Those kind of things I did notice. There were more, in my opinion, more positives in regards to him acting out his belief during that time. I think it was great, but I do think that if a person pays close attention to it, they can see how the story was kind of slanted, and it wasn't written from a standpoint to kind of draw men into the nation, into love the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, but it did make the men fall in love with Malcolm.
Hmm.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay. Let's deal with the brother Khalid Muhammad. How does the nation feel about brother Khalid Muhammad?
Brother Khalid Muhammad. Brother Khalid Muhammad was a soldier, brother.
Uh-huh.
The brother was a soldier. And I'm so humble and I'm so appreciative of all of these men and the good works that they've done. I rarely like to create any dissension between anything. I just think the brother did a great work.
Hmm.
Um, whatever differences him and the minister may have had at the time, you know, both of them have lectures their brothers and sisters can refer to. But one thing I can say, uh, uh, brother Abdul never lost his love for the minister. He may have disagreed, but he never lost his love for the minister. And again, like I said, you got brothers in the Nation of Islam. We appreciate all our soldiers, and a lot of people um, like to make it seem as though we're not appreciative, or no, we're standing on the shoulders of men like Khalid Muhammad, men like Abdullah, men like Malcolm X, men like Minister Louis Farrakhan. We're standing on their shoulders, but we like to take a overview of all of their lives, their success, and what we do is we like to use their examples to kind of help direct and kind of give us a leeway to where we can kind of avoid some of the pitfalls for ourselves. So I would just like to say that we admire his courageousness, and some of us like to have that fiery spirit in us today.
Okay, and then let's jump to the first Million Man March. It was a success,
Yes, sir.
but people feel as if the momentum, I guess, that people didn't take advantage of the momentum. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, a lot of people have questions in regards to, I know Brother Farrakhan had, I guess, the $1 project where he was collecting money. People would like to know how that money is being put to use to benefit Black America today.
From the first Million Man March you speak of?
Well, that, and then also too, I mean, I'm kind of lumping this question together, but like
Okay.
the first Million Man March, and then any type of money that was collected to be used to benefit the Black community. People want to know how those resources are being distributed, or how, if they needed access, to those resources, how they can get them, like how does it work?
Right. Well, uh, no one in my family at that time was in the Nation of Islam. I don't even believe anyone from my immediate family even went. But I can't say from every man that I have had the experience of having the conversation with that did go, it changed their lives. For one, this was the first time that 1 million black people had been called to one location in a certain period of time, and despite work, despite disabilities, lack of transportation, lack of financial stability, they showed up. I've even spoke with a brother that told me that when he went to work, it was like a ghost town with nobody there. That everybody went to the Million Man March that could go, and that the brothers who did not go, they had the thought of going, they regretted it. Because they let obstacles or laziness prevent them from going. Now, the Nation of Islam is not funded. We're not government funded. We're not funded by anybody. The Nation of Islam was built with the nickels, dimes, and pennies of uh, poor black people in America.
Right.
And to hold, and I mean, we have to bear witness to that. So if you got 1 million people in an area, that's financial. And the Minister Farrakhan has a lot of programs. We have the Able Good program now, to help and aid in black people, but the monies, and now, like I said, I'm not going to speak on the funds at that time because that was before my time.
Okay.
But I went to the Million Man March on 10/10/15 just as I had the opportunity to attend.
Mm-hmm.
Now here I am, a college student, uh, just getting out of college, just getting into the work world, and I took the call and I showed up. We organized Oklahoma City and Tulsa, Oklahoma. We showed up, brother, and I mean, it was so many people, and so many people in the gangbangers, our brothers that are Bloods and Crips. I made sure to pay close attention to them, brother, and they were probably some of the most focused men on what he was saying, you know, because a lot of times we think that people don't know, but they do know, brother, and a lot of times we think people do know and they don't know. The Nation of Islam and under the leadership of the most honorable, taught by the most honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, we don't misuse funds, brother. The people know that. I mean, the minister has a clean loving his people, and I think a lot of people, and I think it just comes to show what our slave masters have done to our mind. It You give $1, you want to know where that $1 went,
Right.
but we give $1 to the corner stores, or we give $1 for White Owl, or he asks no questions about that. But here you have a black man that told us to show up in one location and to pool our resources and do something for ourselves, and to take the message that he gave to go back into our communities, to make our communities a decent place to live, build our families. And instead of paying attention to the message, we want to know where our $1 went. You know, um, it's backwards.
Shout
And
out.
I was just,
Oh, go ahead, brother. Sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead and
yes,
come.
sir.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and finish. Sorry for cutting you off.
Brother Abdul Halim Muhammad gave us this book. I don't know if you can see it, brother. You can contact the Final Call
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago. He said this is imperative that anybody that's trying to help the black community call and ask them to reprint a copy of this. I believe it's no more than about $5.
Okay.
Because in it has some critical information and viewpoints of how to go about being effective in organizing the community, some of the obstacles that you're going to run into, the responsibilities of us, a lot of things. So I would definitely make sure that you all contact Final Call and get this. It's the Million Man March, the Day of Absence. And this is the mission statement from the Million Man March. So I would just recommend that you all add this to your library.
Okay. All right, cool. We got a shout out to Goodfella 36 for the super chat. He wants to know, does the Nation of Islam believe that African Americans should have or build land, infrastructure, and nationhood outside of America?
Outside of America. We
Yes.
believe that anywhere that we can, well, of course, we're here. We built this. You know, uh, why would we want to go elsewhere? We can go elsewhere if we choose to go. That's fine, of course. But we have families here. A large majority of our people who, as relates to consciousness, they don't want to go anywhere else. So I would say, why don't we make where we live a decent place to live, and we can network with our brothers and sisters um, across in Africa, in Asia, and set up a trade market. But I think that wherever the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaks on that in the message to the black man, also is very imperative that every brother get the message to the black man, study it,
Absolutely.
dig into it. The words are so pregnant. People will see a statement and they'll think that it's an easy read. No, dig into the words are pregnant. Pregnant meaning they have deeper meaning to them. And based on your intentions, go into his teachings and dig it out and then make use of it. But wherever we want, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we can make here a decent place to live for ourselves. Our parents worked hard to be here, you know. So wherever we decide as a people to go to build, it doesn't have to be any place other than America. It can be any place that has fertile land and has, access to um, oceans and the land and water to where we can be able to trade and have commerce amongst ourselves. So it don't have to be, foreign. I think, is that the brother's question he was asking?
Yeah, yeah. He wants to know, should we? Because I mean, just the racial climate. I mean, we've been here what over 400 years.
True.
We're still dealing with racism and the same issues that we've been dealing with for over 400 years. So
That's
why
correct.
continue to deal with it here when I guess they're saying we should? People are saying we should look elsewhere. But I know
Right.
Brother Farrakhan says that this is our land and that we
Right.
should build right here, and that the
Right.
I guess the U.S. government should allow us to separate. I mean, do you
Right.
see that being a reality as far as the U.S. government saying, "Hey, I'm going to give Black people their own land, 40 acres and a mule, and you guys
Mm.
figure it out yourselves"? Like, what? I mean, what's? I mean,
Well, that's just God being merciful,
uh-huh.
giving them the option. Are they going to do it? The likelihood, no, they're not going to do it. You know, but at least they can't say that they didn't have an opportunity to try to do it. The thing is this, brother, racism is a mindset. It's a mindset that, you know, is that takes residency in most white people that have power and those who don't have power but have the benefits of it. And it has made its way into our own mind. So rather here or anywhere else, we're going to deal with it. But we're going to have to confront it. We're saying this, yes. There's a racial climate in America. We're aware of that. But we haven't tried separation. We haven't tried it, brother. We have not tried it. We have not tried to do it to a great extent to demand land to build for ourselves. We have not tried it. So I figure that if we as a people, and I'm speaking outside of the Nation of Islam's perspective, but just speaking of it from a black perspective, if we have not tried separation to see if it can be a success to us here, we ought to try that first before we just pack up and go somewhere else. And because you're not even from that land, you don't even know what obstacles await when you get there. So you are trying to answer a problem with the wrong solution, and you end up creating another problem and still having the original problem. you know. And like I said, a lot of us have to get into a self-love state of mind, the knowledge of self state of mind. Once we do that, a lot of our problems will cease to happen because there's the self hate, brother. We're killing each other now. You see what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
if we don't confront that, we're going to take these problems elsewhere. I say we stay here, we look ourselves in the mirror, and we confront what we have been and what we're trying to be. We pull our resources, separate, even if they don't want to separate. They don't understand the value of separating because for as long as the common European family knows today, you have equal opportunities as far as they do. They don't understand why you need to separate, but they're not looking into your history the way that you are. and the books that they're referring to has a slanted view. So yes, we can do it somewhere else. But I say this: why don't we try to just do it here and make this place, make our homes where we are now? And I'm in Oklahoma City. Why don't we try to make Oklahoma City, Detroit, Philadelphia, Florida, Louisiana? Why don't we try to make these places a decent place to live and protect our own selves and police our own community and build our own business? I think we can do that. We don't have to go anywhere else to do that.
Now, Scientology, all right, shout out to Goodfella 36. So the brother saying, shout out for the super chat again. He says, so is the brother saying that the only way to land in America is to have the U.S. government give it to us? Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. I didn't say God's going to give it to us. And a lot of brothers don't like to hear that, They don't want to hear it, but it was promised to us. It was promised to us that we're going to be free. So what I'm saying is this: we're not waiting on them to give us anything. We gave them the opportunity to assist us. Don't assist us, then God's going to take care of them. Going to be ours anyway. Friend, brother, what's the brother name?
The brother's name is Rain. Let's see here. The Good Fella 36.
Yes, sir. I appreciate his, and it shows that he's sincere. And I appreciate that. What I'm saying, brother, is this: we're not waiting on them to give us anything. We're trying to motivate our people to get up and make use of themselves, brother. We can pull our resources and buy the land if we wanted to do so. If we had that common goal in mind, that we can do these things. We saying that we gave them that option. That's Allah being merciful to say, these are some of the things that you can do to help your once slaves, descendants of slaves, to become self-sufficient. If you don't do that, the calamities will come. And it's going to be taken from them, brother. So that's just God being merciful to say that. So no, we're not waiting on them to, cut us a check. We really are saying, black man and black woman, pull your resources and the things that you want to see and build. Use your own nickels and dimes and knowledge and skills to produce it for yourself, regardless of whatever they do, because they're going to do what they've been doing. But we got God on our side, brother. There's no way that we're going to go through this type of suffering and there be a creator of heavens and earth and he not assist us. So I would say for persons who don't believe that that's realistic, then they ought to look into their ideology of what God is and what God does. If they don't think that the God that came to free black people can take land from their once slave masters and give it to them, then, I question their belief. And I believe wholeheartedly that what Master Prophet Muhammad, Allah in the person, told us that he's going to give to us, he's going to give it to us, regardless of what the government does.
Shout out to brother Reno for the super chat. And first of all, guys, we have 111 people watching, only 43 likes. Let's get the likes up, please. Please hit that like button. Also, to thank you, brother Jallow, for joining us again, brother. It means a lot. Me and brother Jallow go back. All right, from my LA day. So, brother, thank you so much for joining us.
What's the brother name, brother Jallow?
You.
Oh, okay, yes, sir. Okay, I thought you were
Mario X, my bad.
No, it's you right, brother. Yes,
my bad, bro. It's all good. So,
Reno
has a question. Reno, thank you for the super chat. Reno says he has been in the NOI since he was born. The principles are the best, but the NOI leadership cares far too much about non-black people. He makes a great point, Mario. Let me get your take on this. Now, you see, I know Farrakhan is a supporter of this, and I don't agree with it. This so-called Black and Brown coalition, because me personally, I feel, in fact, it's not that I feel, I know that the Brown is not reciprocating. Whether it be Indians, Latinos, I know the NOI often includes them in regards to the Black struggle, but I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all. Um, from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the NOI. And I feel as if Black people are not benefiting at all from the N are from, put it like this: the brown is not fighting for the black, but the black is fighting for everybody. Um, are there any benefits for black people who are fighting for non-black issues when these non-black people aren't fighting for black people?
And the brother said he's been in the nation since he was born, but he feels that the current leadership of the Nation of Islam is too concerned with
About
non-black people.
and I agree with that as well, because I know a lot of times you guys include non-black people when it comes to the black struggle. So,
Okay.
I see Native Americans, Latinos, I hear Farrakhan make the comment, our Latino brothers and sisters. But again, I just feel like it's not being reciprocated, that they're not
Right.
fighting for us.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, salam alaikum to the brother, and soldier on. For Muhammad, I'll say this, brother. When we say black people, we're not just talking about, you know, persons who classify themselves as blacks being African Americans, so-called African Americans. We're talking about all indigenous people of the planet Earth. These differences amongst us being Indians or Mexicans or black things or maneuvers that has put in place from unifying and to help one another. Yes, you're gonna have some opposition. They just as much of brainwashed and in the mud as we are. But the Nation of Islam, to say that the Nation of Islam is more concerned with non-black people, these people are black people. We're trying to bring the family together to solve our problem. I think that's a question, and I'm going to say from my own personal experience, I thought, I don't want to deal with anybody but black people. And black people meaning people that look like me. I didn't want to deal with any other original people. That was a very premature way of thinking. Because you have friends out here that will help you. You have friends out here that will help you. These people, we share a common lineage with these people. They just look different from you based on the breeding. So just because you may find certain persons who the brother may be talking about, be it Indians or, because Master Farad Muhammad, he included them in his lessons. He included them in the 2 million Indians. So when you say that, brother, I have to say I disagree. That we're trying to pool our resources. We have something that we can learn from each other as a family to help solve our problems. So a lot of black people in America, particularly blacks in America, who have been miseducated, don't have a proper understanding of finances. We're going to need some help getting out of this condition. Then not only that, you're dealing with some of our people who are what we classify as Negroes, who have made a certain level of benefit, and they feel like you can reach that level, follow their formula. They say that without introducing the pitfalls that have already been laid out for you. So I would tell the brother to study more. To study more. Yeah, these are your brothers and sisters, and they are. There's nothing wrong with saying that these are your brothers and sisters. Find out what makes them successful in maintaining their communities. If you see that that's the benefit that they have, and bring it home, and you make use of that for yourself. So, and the Nation of Islam is concerned about all oppressed people of the planet Earth, but more particularly the black man and woman of America. Where you see help, go and get the help. Because me, fresh out of college, without knowing the nation, I didn't have the answers. And I found a man like Elijah Muhammad to provide me with the answers. So for the brother have been in the nation that long, and to say that we're concerned about non-black people, the people that he spoke of are black people. These are black people.
Okay, what if they don't identify as black?
That just comes with, uh, like I said. People want to have an identity. They may not. The wise of them do. There's our Latino brothers in the Nation of Islam. They classify themselves as black.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Come say hello to brother Jallow. Come here. Come say hello, Master. Come say hello to brother Jallow. Say hello. Say
Peace.
hello,
How you
man.
doing, young brother?
Say hello. Stop digging
He
in.
got big, brother.
Okay, go get the laptop. Go get the laptop. All right, brother.
That's all good.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So, okay, so brother, I know one thing I noticed.
Yes, sir.
No, no, one second. I know one thing that I noticed that's common is this, I guess, patience. So, you speak on dealing with our okay, how can I put it? Brothers that don't, the brown, dealing with the brown and being patient with them. I know we speak on, the nation speaks on, the devil, the white man's rule is up, 2,000 years to rule. We have to be patient. It's gonna happen and be our time to rule or whatnot. It's just dealing with the present right now. I don't see any of that happening soon as far as the brown waking up, acknowledging their blackness and uniting with black people. And
Yes.
as far as white supremacy just disappearing and ending because the rule is up. What would be
Well,
your response to that?
it again, brother. It goes back to what we were taught. We were taught to. We were taught in a way when we say patience. Patience for us mean do nothing. No patience. I'm telling you, that's our way of looking at it. That we mean patience mean do that. No, patience mean perseverance, brother. Doing things daily to aid in the rise of black people, but doing it knowing that it's going to be a struggle. It's going to take some time,
Mm-hmm.
because you have
Okay, but
Elijah Muhammad. He's giving him the hardest job ever given to a man. So when we speak of patience, the Nation of Islam, we're active. We're in the streets. We go to the parts of the community, brother, that a dentist and doctor won't walk those streets. They wouldn't feel safe, But we go into those communities looking to find those nuggets of gold, just needing to have somebody to polish them and give them something to teach them the better of themselves. So yeah, I mean, patience meaning, brother, if you're sincere about helping black people, you gotta be patient. Because they're gonna deny you first. They're not gonna believe. We have this all into other communities and identifies them. No, it's gonna take some patience. If you're sincere about black people, you have to be patient. And when you're patient with black people, you're patient with yourself. Patient with your women, patient with your children, patience with your community. I'm a very patient man because I realize that this job that I share with other brothers in the nationalist community in the Nation of Islam, it's going to take some patience, and we got to be patient with each other. And I think this lack of patience, this lack of perseverance is why you don't see a lot of unity from us who say that we have the answers. So that's something that needs to be confronted. And that's something that those of us that are in these spiritual organizations and nations, we have to come together and solve that problem. So yeah, patience, but we mean persevere, brother.
okay.
Keep striving on. Keep striving on. Or what'll happen is you'll burn out. You don't get results in the period. You don't get results that you wanted as fast as you wanted. Because check this out, brother. Let's say that I come from the streets. I've done a certain level of hurt to my people, right?
Right.
When I hear these teachings, I'm gonna be more convicted to go out and get them because I knew that I caused some of the hell that these children and mothers have to live with. Or you're going to deal with the brother that come out of college whose family come from a good home that never harmed his people. You're going to have to be patient enough to get that message across to him to let him know it's beneficial for him. So yeah, we just mean patience and perseverance, but you have. This is not a night. Just because Ibrahim Jallow heard the message when he home and is going to hear it and fall in love with it instantly, like I did, brother.
Brother, another question, I'm gonna leave the black and brown situation alone. Hey, brother
You
Mario.
have to be patient if you're sincere.
Okay, you were kind of going in and out. I think
Okay.
We should be fine now.
Okay.
But
Yes, sir.
okay, but this is my question, Mario.
Okay.
As far as being too loyal, like you'll hear black people make the statement, black and brown, but you'll never hear brown people
Too
include.
loyal.
Right. I mean, you hear black people make the statement, black and brown, but you'll never hear brown people including black people in their struggle. I mean, what would be your response to that?
I think it depends on where you're getting your information. Who are you looking to answer those questions? Not speaking directly to you, brother. Excuse
No,
me. I'm
no,
just
no,
using
no,
that as an.
no, that's fine. No, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. I don't see that. I don't see it at all. You know, that's based on a person's opinion and their how and where they're looking to get that kind of information. We go to the Indian reservations and they're happy to see us come. And we're not trying to submerge ourselves to adopt to that culture, even though it's rich and we respect it. We're Muslims. We come and we're already grounded in a level of self-knowledge. We're trying to bridge that gap that our enemy don't want us to bridge. That's the issue. So when we speak of these words of brown and black, we're only saying unify. We only use those terms to as to clarify that there have been some changes and we don't look at each other the same anymore. But and that, like I said, and a lot of that's because of the breeding. But we're still family, brother. We're still family.
Mm.
And you may say that, hey, they don't identify with the black struggle, you know, and in some instances they can't. But we're not looking for people to identify. We're looking for people who want to help, and we help them to overcome this stuff. We're not looking at people to play the woe is me on each other game. We're trying to be active, brother. Active in going about the solution to try to solve these problems, not repeating the problems and not adding no solutions. So to my brown family, even to my black family, I'm gonna say my Asiatic family, we're gonna have to come together. It's what God requires for us to be free. Unity is the most important component of freedom for black people right now. Black is a nation. It's not a race. We're in a race, but we're a nation of people. And us in America, who, under the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we're a nation of people who are in the process of submitting their will to God. That's what it means when you say the Nation of Islam. Now, free will without the knowledge of self is destructive, brother. Right? So we only use that to say that we need to unite. We got a lot of ground to cover, and we're gonna need as much help as we can before we can become self sufficient as relates to building something for ourselves.
Shout out to brother B Cotillion. Now that is exactly the type of talks we need to have in our community. Love it. So he's loving the conversation we're having.
And I really appreciate the brother. If I can say that, I appreciate it, brother.
Mhm.
Like I said, I'm a young man myself, so I'm a part of this generation that's called on to answer that question. I wasn't born when the minister stood up. I was not here when Khalid Muhammad made the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. I was not here when he was here. I did not know Brother Malcolm. What I'm concerned about, brother, today is what will they say about Ibrahim and Jallow?
Mm-hmm.
Did I take my gifts and talents and my free will to be self-absorbed in this life and leave my children to have to handle this struggle? Because that's one thing that's very important is the black family. When you have children, you're more concerned about your community in the world, brother, because you got to send these persons out into the world. You're concerned about how people are raising their children because my daughters are going to need husbands. Concerned about how our people are raising their daughters because my son is going to need a wife. So I appreciate that it's support. And like I said, we're brothers in this struggle. And I was just born, I'm not that old, brother. This problem been here long before I got here. But I'm doing the best that I can to lay, to put my footprint in the sands to say that I did aid. And no greater man in today's time that I'm happy to say that I stand with than the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, brother.
Mm. So let's see what else we got in the chat room. If an African country offered the NOI 10,000 square miles of land to build their own city state, does the brother think the NOI will take the offer?
I'm not in a position to answer that question, but we got to be logical.
Uh-huh.
I don't speak absolutes. I don't have that authority, but I can say that in any way of African nation trying to assist us, why not? that's the whole thing, is we're trying to become self-sufficient. But what we're saying, our objective is, sure, we can do that, and that's fine. But we're still going to have to see what we're trying to do, brother. We're trying to run away from work that we need to do here and find an easier way of going about it somewhere else. If somebody in Africa, our brothers in Africa, offer us aid, then why not take the aid? If in regards to what we do about it and how we go about that, that's a collective thing. I can't answer that question alone, but I think that it's we should look at that question intelligently, and we'll be able to. I think we can answer that for ourselves with all due respect. With all due respect. So yes, sir.
Another question in the chat room. The Libyan slave trade. So I don't know if Brother Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan, ever made any statements, I guess, renouncing the Libyan slave trade when you had African migrants who were going to Libya to immigrate to Europe, who were being captured and traded as slaves by other Muslims in Libya. Did the Nation of Islam ever make an official statement on that, or just in regards to the Arab slave trade in general? Hello, you there, bro? Hello,
Yes, sir.
are you there? Oh, okay. I thought we lost you. Go ahead. You there?
Okay, no, yeah, I'm here. I was
Go
saying,
ahead.
brother, I'm not going to spend too much time on that.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say resort to the Final Call newspaper and YouTube. The minister does speak on that.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Uh, and yeah, he does. So I think that and what I'm doing is I'm giving brothers and sisters that leeway so they can do the necessary research to get the answer for that. Another thing, no Muslim is going to be involved in the trading and selling of human beings. That's another thing. That's not a Muslim. That's a person that's doing their own selfish deeds under the banner of being a Muslim in Islam, but the title of what they claim to be takes the backlash of that. So uh, that's not true. Any person that sells human beings and enslave human beings and say that they're Muslims, meaning that they submit to the will of Allah, is not a Muslim, brother.
Okay. All right. Now, the next question is, of course, you've probably covered it. That they're asking in the chat room is the Scientology situation.
Okay.
Especially with Ron L. Hubbard, his association with Aleister Crowley, who was a, unapologetic racist and practiced witchcraft, and
Okay.
Hubbard was one of his students.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? Have you went through Scientology at all in any of the courses? Like, what are your
Well, we go into Dianetics
okay?
now. And again, brother Abdul Halim is a great person of reference
Okay.
as it relates to that. You can also add brother Al Shahid Muhammad, the student minister of Dallas, and he did brother Abdul Halim did a lecture today in Dallas, entitled "Nothing New Under the Sun" that can answer some of those questions. But the thing is this: we have problems as Black people, spiritual, psychological problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dianetics has a technology in it to relieve your mind of some of the trauma that you don't know exists in your mind, to help you better understand what we are studying ourselves and what some impacts of trauma that's caused on us. It can help you solve those problems.
Mm-hmm.
We're not joining. We don't have any interest in becoming them, brother.
Mm-hmm.
We seek knowledge wherever it's found. Now, what L. Ron Hubbard and his relationship with whoever, this Crowley guy, whatever they had going, that's on them, brother. That's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for a new God. We're not looking for a new religion. We're going in to get the technology to help relieve some of the psychological trauma of people who were made less than human beings, who were made animals. Dianetics has a science to help to relieve some of that they call it engrams from our mind, so that we can be better productive for ourselves and our community, to better see uh, things for what they are. That's wise. Now, like I said, brother, the minister warns us of going into the study of Dianetics and trying to become what they are. That's not our mission, brother. Our mission is this. Dianetics has a tool that can help you in a psychological way that the modern day counseling can't. We're going to have to go through a training to help us relieve ourselves of this trauma. A lot of people may disagree, but I say this: have you read the book? Not Scientology. Have you read the Dianetics book? Have you got an overview of what it's supposed to do as it relates to psychosomatic traumas? Have you done it? If we haven't, I would tell people this: don't ask a question about something that you have not probed to answer for yourself. The ministers, and a lot of times I can tell that we're wanting the answer without doing the research. The minister has done countless lectures on this. We've done forums with members of the Scientology and the Nation of Islam, where we get into those critical points, and all of this information is in public database. I will say, get started on. If you're sincere about the answer to that, go into those and research it. But if we haven't read the book, then we're just looking at the fact of the title, and we're saying, oh no, they're trying to become a new religion. Come on now, brother, we're smarter than that. We're just saying that Dianetics has a tool to help us release some of the traumas that we've been through. And if you can find it useful, get that knowledge. Go get yourself clear of it and become more productive. Because all of us have it. Don't think because we read uh uh you know Black Power by Amos Wilson, read a few books by Naeem Akbar, and we healed, brother. We got some issues. And we have issues in our inability to even work with each other. So I would just look into it. You don't have to. We're not saying join that religion. No, those people have no interest in us joining their religion. They saying that this Dianetic tool can be used to heal some of the traumas that you all have. And try it. If you don't agree with it, don't do it. But us, the minister told us to study Dianetics to help us psychologically, and I think that any sincere person that is wanting that should go.
Hmm.
I hope
Another,
that answered their question.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we have to move forward. I mean, you
Yes,
answered
sir.
it, and yeah, people in the chat room.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's enough. I mean, you were straight to the point, and you answered the question.
Right.
What about Islam is Arabism? That is not an African religion,
Right.
not a black religion. What are your thoughts on comments like that?
Lack of knowledge, foolishness. To be honest with you,
Hmm.
Elijah Muhammad didn't say, "I was taught for you to act like they act in the East, dress like they dress in the East." He never said that. He said, "Accept your own and be yourself." Islam is given to us as a religion, but it's your nature. Submission to God. That's you naturally. That is you naturally. Brother Stephen Muhammad, out of Dallas, Texas, told me this. And I spoke with you earlier, Brother Donis. And we were speaking about this. And I said that if you're righteous by nature, you have to rationalize the wrong you do in your life to be able to deal with the fact that you're wrong. Islam is the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, and the knowledge of the devil. The black man is a Muslim by nature, regardless of whatever we classify ourselves as based on tradition or religious culture. If you're submitting yourself to do the will of God, then you're a Muslim. We don't. And again, am I am putting a level between the Nation of Islam and our brothers and sisters in the East. Look at the back of the Final Call newspaper and what the Muslims want and believe, and then look at our brothers and sisters in the East in their understanding of Islam. And you look at yourself and ask you, how has the Nation of Islam been able to make use of men that the world disregarded as not able to be helped? before Elijah Muhammad was before Elijah Muhammad heard the teachings of Master Farad Muhammad, the white man didn't have anything for him to do. So Islam being an Arab religion is foolishness, brother. I think they saying that because they're saying, you know, they're looking at words like Arabic, Arab, which the original Arabs were black.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes with we're not studying. We want a microwave answer to everything. And that's why, brother, I'm answering questions in a way that probe our listeners to go and study.
Yeah.
Look at the Nation of Islam, look at Minister Farrakhan and the men that he has groomed, Wesley Muhammad, Brother Nuri Muhammad. Look at these men. Look at what we do in our community, and then ask yourself if we trying to be like Arabs. We're not trying to be like Arabs, brother. This is our nature. This is ours. And just because we've been dead for so long, and when we kind of wake up, we see that they have the same titles of things, we give them ownership of that. No, no, brother, that's foolishness. Islam is the black man's nature. It's given to us as a religion because we were emptied of everything that made us human beings. We were emptied of everything that would give us the power to answer and create destinies for ourselves. Islam has been the most productive means for black men to redefine themselves. And and anybody that said that it's not, you said they said it's not African.
Right, right. They're saying like it's an Arab religion, the
It's an
pale
Arab.
Arab religion,
It's an Arab religion.
pale Arab religion, white pale Arab
Yeah,
Caucasian.
yeah, I understand. Yeah. Uh, it's I don't. It's so foolish. It's so foolish, and a lot of them have never even been to the East to see how it even operates there. You've been there, brother Donis.
Yeah. Well, the Islam in Senegal is completely Africanized.
That's what I'm. You know, it's our way of life. Islam is us. We're not taking a dirty glass of religion and then putting ourselves in it. No, bro. No, sir. Islam is the black man's way of life. We're just now getting back to it because of what happened to us.
Hmm.
So, like I said, we're giving ownership to things that are ours by nature to other people, and I'm not going to do that. You know, and I think that they ought to answer that question intelligently. Um, it's foolish, you know. And any Arab that would say that we're off the course of proper Islam
Right.
is a fool, you know, because again, what have they done for you? And what have they done for our community? This is our job to clean up our own communities, you know, and they make better use of themselves in their own communities. We have no interest in trying to be like them, brother. And it's so foolish because they should be able to, our people should be able to see that by now.
Hmm.
They should be able to see that by now. It just shows a lack of travel, a lack of having the proper conversations with people. You know, a lot of people are asking and have these absolutes about the Nation of Islam and never even attended. At least show it with questions and ask the questions. But you're asking, trying to get questions outside of the mosque, outside of the literature, outside of the lectures, and you're asking persons who do not subscribe to it or have not read it. And to me, that shows that we don't have a proper way of studying information. You know, we think studying information is buying the book and reading it once. We don't know how to go into the synonyms of words, and we know how to extract meaning out of things, and we get confused. So to say Islam is an Arab religion is foolishness, and I'm not even going to spend too much time with trying to entertain it. I would just say study, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to anybody that probed the question.
Okay. All right. Goodfella 36. Thank you for the super chat. He says these are his last questions.
Okay.
Uh, if the U.S. government, well, you kind of answered this question with the Africa question. Basically, if the U.S. government gave the Nation of Islam 2 to 3 states, would they take it? I mean, I don't know if you're in position to answer that, but I would think you
Mm-hmm.
guys would. Um, and then he
Right.
says, who was the last prophet? Is Farad Muhammad considered God?
We kind of covered that.
Okay.
God is force and power. Period. You know, a devil is any person moving away from God.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question the brother answered, I'm not going to delve into that. I'm not qualified to answer that question, and I don't deal with what ifs. We'll deal with it if they do or if they don't. We will. But what we're saying is this, and again, I thank the brother for even being on with us this long and answering these questions. Black man, you're very powerful, whoever you are. You're a thinking man. You're a man that's dissatisfied. Dissatisfaction brings about a change. I would say, brother, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what have you been and what are you trying to become? Deal with your defects and get your feet on the ground and go out into the community to try to make it a decent place to live. That's the first part that I wanted to give the brother. And what was the second part that the brother stated? I know he asked about
in regards to Farad Muhammad being God, or if he's the if he's the prophet, the final prophet.
right,
Who do you guys
right.
consider as the final prophet?
Well, Muhammad's the final prophet. You know, um, the Quran says, and Muhammad is the last prophet. But Elijah Muhammad was more than a prophet. We don't need no more prophets, brother. You know right now. And in the Bible it says that God will come. You know, so to us, and it's a reality. We don't want to accept it, and a lot of us don't want to accept it because of the responsibility that it holds. But yet, Allah came in His person. Yes, we don't worship flesh and blood. It's not the flesh and blood that made uh, Master Farad Muhammad God. It's the knowledge and wisdom of his mind and his teaching that made him God. You know, and I would tell that brother, if the brother has not read any literature of the Nation of Islam and the Elijah Muhammad's um, explanation of Master Farad Muhammad and what makes him God, I would say, brother, uh, do a diligent research on it. Um, we bear witness, and you know what Master Farad Muhammad, when he got here, what he said? He said, "We gods, direct descendants from God." Who else told you that? Do you know what that means when he said that you're God? That means that he said, set yourself in heaven, not sit and wait on somebody to put you in heaven. He gave you the responsibility of putting yourself in heaven. You know, and the teachings of, and we say, man, Allah came in His person, and it's very so true. He came, He taught you the knowledge of yourself. He gave you a dietary, He gave you the dietary principles to where you can live a healthy life and be productive. He gave you the knowledge of devil, what classifies a person as a devil, even if it's you. He told you to build a heaven for yourself. Take your eyes out of the sky, waiting to be physically dead to reap the benefits of life and be God. But because He had the wisdom and knowledge, we give we're little Allahs, but we give praise to the Most High Allah, who is a black man. Yes, of course, brother, Allah came in His person. Allah is God, you know. And I think that, brother, if you study Minister Farrakhan, he's worthy to be studied. Study his life. Study the things that he's able to say, and still be here with us, you know, in the, with no disrespect, not how old he is, with as wise as he is in his with his age, and to still deal with black people. That shows you the success in the teachings. So we do believe that Allah came in His person. We don't worship the flesh and blood. We're looking at His mind, the knowledge, the power that we grow from the teachings that He brought us. Did you hear me, Brother Donis, when I gave that
Yeah,
explanation?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, okay. Our camera went out, so I don't know if we're.
No. Everything. You were loud and loud and clear.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And thank the brother for that question.
No
Yes,
problem,
sir.
brother. I'm just asking the questions, and we're not going to keep you here too much longer. I know you're
Okay.
with family.
Yes, sir.
Someone wants to know: does the nation of see? I know Farrakhan has spoken on as far as voting in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I mean, he says participate, correct? If you want,
Well,
right?
this is the thing, brother. You want to be, if you live somewhere,
Right.
you want to be familiar with anybody that has the power to make decisions as it relates to where you live. So you got to be involved in local politics. If you don't see persons being morally and ethically what is needed for your community to get the benefits that these persons are able to advocate for you, then go under the study and then you answer that call.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you can say that you want to be self-sufficient and you're concerned about the concerns of black people in your community and you don't know your police chief. You don't know your city councilman. You don't know of you don't know what's going on in agriculture to know if your people even qualify for land grants and things of that nature. And a lot of that, brother, comes from the fact that we're looking at a mystery God. We don't think that any of these things have any relevance as it relates to us building heaven for ourselves. Now, this is the thing, as it relates to, presidents and things of that nature. If you don't see anybody on the ballot that advocates for what you want, then why are you even voting? But I'm not saying that we shouldn't have any voice in local politics. Of course we should, because these persons have the ability to change our circumstances drastically based on the relationships that we have. So the Nation of Islam is very much so um, very advocating for getting to know your police chief, because you know what? Once you get to know your police chief, he'll work with you to solve these problems. The Nation of Islam is trying to make their job easier, and us and other organizations are trying to make their job easier. So we want to get to know these persons, so when they're dealing with people in our community, they can come to us and get a better understanding of what's going on in the black community. Because not only are we dealing with it on a day-to-day basis, we live in these communities. So I wouldn't say don't be involved in any politics. Be involved in intelligent politics and pay attention to scripture, Holy Bible, and Quran as it relates to wicked deceivers. We know when persons don't mean us no good, then why are you voting for them? Get busy doing the job that you're looking for them to do for yourself and your own community. We don't need no president for that. We can do that ourselves.
Hmm.
You know.
Absolutely. And then a couple more questions, then we'll go ahead and close out.
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
was bringing up a building fund, the building fund. Uh, what are
A
your
bill.
thoughts about the NOI building fund? Brother
Is
was
it
building
the?
bringing up.
Are they speaking of the economical
I,
blueprint?
I guess I think we spoke on that, but yeah, like
Okay,
I mean,
they're speaking of
so this is the question. People want to know, how is the money from the the blueprint being distributed amongst the black community? That's what people want to know. The building
Okay.
fund, yeah.
If you could clarify, I'm not really sure of what they're asking.
Well, they,
You
they,
could.
they want to know, okay, if I'm not a member of the NOI, if I
Okay.
donate money, or I guess
Mm-hmm.
I think at one time, Brother Minister Farrakhan had the $1 project or whatever. Everybody just donate
Okay.
$1. They
Okay.
want to know, where can they see their money being put to work, and are these resources accessible to the
Right.
non-Nation of Islam black community?
A beautiful question. Whoever that is, beautiful question. The thing is this: rather you know it or not, you're in the nation. You're not a registered member with an X, but you're in the nation. And if you want to know what's going on with the nation and what's going on with the monies that we collect from our service, go into the mosque and ask these questions. We information from the outside. So we have the Muhammad's economical blueprint. And the thing is this: any service within the nation, brother, we're not a cult. We are Muslim believers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and Allah that have a sincere desire to make independent. Again, for you all that are just getting on, we're not funded by anybody. That Final Call newspaper that is pushed in your community weekly, that's something that we take our time and energy to distribute. That's something that we take our time and energy and finances to keep active in your community, to make sure that you can get the truth without it being slanted. Any monies that is collected by the nation of Islam is used for the betterment of black people. And if you want to know what's going on with the funds, and I'm hoping that the person that probed that question is a continuous contributor to the help and aid of Black people. That you go inside the mosque, visit the study groups in mosque, and see what we're trying to build to answer that question. So it looks like, again, we're not ones to take black people's funds and misuse them and things of that nature. That's not in our uh, that's not in our best interest at all. But I think a lot of times that kind of assumption comes from the type of men and leadership that we've had before now. So any funds that we get in the Nation of Islam is used to for the betterment of Black people, whether they classify themselves as Muslims or not, because a nation is full of all kind of people. The thing is this: when you're in the nation, we're asking all Black people to pull your resources, come together, come under a restrictive law that is not only beneficial for those persons Muslims, but this is beneficial to all persons within the Black community, and make our homes a decent place to live. You're talking about individuals who are trying to build programs and centers and Muhammad universities. We're going to need the community support. For the interruption, brother. Somebody keep trying to call. But we're going to need the community support. We're not misusing those funds. But if you're not staying abreast to what the nation is giving in regards to programs, looking in your Final Call newspaper weekly to see what's available, then you're going to give your funds. If you want to know where your monies go, stay in touch with what the nation is doing, what Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is doing. You know, that's the best way that I can answer that question. And it looks like they're basically saying, I don't like to play around with things. Or you're asking, are we misusing funds?
I mean, for the most part. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah, that's
emphatically no.
Okay.
I mean, listen here. I classify myself as a Muslim. And like I said, I'm college educated. I come from the same poverty-stricken communities as anybody else. Persons that know me personally, business-wise, know that I wouldn't be a part of this if we didn't have the best interests of Black people. Mm-hmm. And Black people take this, that patience thing that we were talking about earlier. I know my people mean well. I know my people are naturally of God. So keep that in mind when we're dealing with each other, or we'll look at each other and judge each other based on our circumstances. And that's not naturally who we are. We want to see the betterment of Black people. You know, if I didn't, I wouldn't do it. You know, this is a hard work, brother. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It's very hard. And it's not for the faint-hearted. Allah cannot use no cowards, brother, to save his people. So no, we're not misusing funds. Emphatically no. So they can be safe in that any money that you give to help aid the Nation of Islam is not only used to advocate for us in a nation. No, we try to take the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and do for ourselves. But your nickels and dimes that you do give us does help us to create blueprints and plans that we can implement in the community to better help persons who are less fortunate, though.
Absolutely. Okay, and then final question, just so we could close out.
Yes, sir.
Me personally, I love the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I'm a big and supporter.
Yes.
I've been reading the Final Call ever since I was. I started reading the Final Call probably 2008. Yes, before that, but for sure, consistently back in 2008. So I honestly love Louis Farrakhan, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
Made a huge impact on my life.
Right.
People who are interested in the nation, what does the nation have to offer? Because I know a lot of people criticize the nation, but I've seen individuals who have joined the nation that have been completely transformed.
Right.
I mean, look at Malcolm X.
Right.
So look at the brother Muhammad Ali. So again, I've seen the impact and experienced the impact that the nation has had on brothers on an individual level. How can the Nation of Islam impact the Black community as a collective? What kind of impact does the Nation of Islam have on the Black community today? What kind of legacy has the Nation of Islam left on the Black community? And we'll end on that question.
Right. It's a continuous journey to free black people,
Mhm.
to give them that which God has promised, but to make use of their hands and their mind to aid in that in which they say they want, in which we classify as heaven. We're taught by the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that Jesus being nailed to a cross is with the crown of thorns around his head is symbolic. When your hands and your feet are nailed, brother, that means you're not making use of your hands and feet. You're not using your hands and feet to travel the world, to make friends, and to use your skills and talents to build anything for yourself. So you're nailed down. And the crown of thorn is symbolic of frustration, confusion, and pain, the pain on your mind to where you can't see clearly on what you need to do. The Nation of Islam, and I'm going to speak from a personal testimony because, like I said, brother, myself that I gave it a chance.
Right.
I didn't look at it with with a. I looked at it for what it was. I read the literature of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I looked at what I was prior, you know, and I've seen a transformation in my life. The men around me, still sharp and still. The Nation of Islam makes men out of men that this world had no use for, you know, and I think that's why a lot of brothers who have been in prison, when they have that isolation and time to study, a lot of them come out Muslims, rather Nation of Islam or Orthodox. The fact that they call God Allah is a long way coming. So the Nation of Islam today can offer the knowledge of self. And I'm not speaking, and you got to look at this too, beloved. I'm not trying to bring you to me.
Right.
I'm not trying to bring people to the nation of Ibrahim and Jallow. No, no. I'm trying to bring you face to face with yourself and with the black God to where we can make ourselves useful. So the Nation of Islam has a multitude of things to add, but the most important thing that it has to offer is the knowledge of self, the reality of God, the reality of the devil, and it gives you the opportunity to make use of your this life. The Nation of Islam don't teach heaven somewhere else, brother. That's why we are so we are so uh, uh, ambitious to make use of this life each and every day because we know once you're gone, you're gone. And we've been taught by the enemy to want these things other places, and it has made us stagnant. And we have also had teachings that excited our spirit but never caused us to make any immediate action. I heard a lot of persons making asking questions around that today. So the Nation of Islam has the knowledge of God that's been kept from us. It has the reality that we are God, not just godly, you are God. Living the proper life in due bounds with yourself. You're God. You're naturally God. And the Nation of Islam has the teachings that can get a black man up. So I say this: stop running from yourself. For those who are listening, I don't know how many on. Stop running from yourself. Give it a try. Go to your local mosque or study group in your area. Bring your questions and ask your questions. And I wouldn't, if you feel like, hey, I'll never join the Nation of Islam, okay, remember what I said. You're in the nation. Let's be helpers of one another. Tell us what you would like to see in your community. We'll tell you what we would like to see in our community, and then let's pull ourselves together and build that. If you look at the Nation of Islam and you look at the men and the women who were once out here unclothed, now modest wives and women that the world has to respect, that answers your question. The Nation of Islam makes God out of black men and black women who once mentally dead to the knowledge of self. So I hope that answer was sufficient. I could say so much more, um, but in a nutshell, yeah, it gives you the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, and the knowledge of who your enemy is.
Absolutely. Brother Jallow, thank you so much for
Yeah.
brother
And
Mario.
final statements, brother. Um,
Say that one more time.
I said I just want to make some final statements
Oh
before I
no, go
leave.
ahead, brother.
Uh,
Take your time. Take your time.
to all of the viewers, any questions that you all would like to see, brother Amir probe not only to the Nation of Islam, but to any intelligent man that has a sincere interest in helping us to become self-sufficient. Know that this is a very powerful platform. This is a black man that's self-motivated to aid and ask these questions, not only for himself, but to the black community. So I would just ask that you all please be able to support to him, share his videos, and stay away from all negativity. We've been we've been so destroyed that we look for reasons to argue. I don't claim to be a scholar of anything. I'm just a good brother that's trying to do my best and help us get out of this condition. So I ask you to please support Donna Samir. He goes frequently to Africa to get information, and I ask that you all study and let's send the brother. Let's send the brother off with some information that we want to get back to use, not just to know. Not just to know. I was telling the brother that earlier. If we spoke a lot about if our brothers in Africa wanted to aid us, well, how about we go over there and ask them to help us?
There we go.
Yeah, ask them, brother Imam, brother pastor, you know, what is your blueprint, or what do you have the God has put on your heart to help the descendants of slaves or the descendants of persons made slaves that come from your particular tribe or your particular region? Have you consulted with God in your prayers with how you're going to help these people to gain the knowledge of self? Because we all come into knowledge for various reasons, and as we matriculate through this curriculum, whichever curriculum we decide to choose, our objectives change. If we have brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa that are sincere about helping us, have them to give us a copy of their blueprint so we can bring it back to our people, so we'll know that we have help. And don't speak absolute. Just because we have a few persons who are part of the Asiatic family, the brown family, the yellow family, and they're not righteous, those few people don't speak for the millions of people around the world that suffer in the similar manners as we do, but maybe not as deep as we do. Seek help. Get the help. And if they're in persons who you feel that are not willing to help you, then don't ask them for help. Become your own help. So I really thank you, brother, for giving me the opportunity.
Man,
like I said, I'm just a good brother.
Brother, anytime, man. You have a open invitation, man. Anytime you want to
Yes,
come on, or anytime we have any questions, brother.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
reaching
sir.
out to you, man. But thank you for
Thank
joining.
you as well, brother.
If you want to share your contact information, you can. It's up to you.
Okay, sure. And you can follow me on Instagram at I am _ Jallow, JALLOW, and you can also reach me via email at Shabazz, SHABAZZ PULLO at gmail.com. And you can also reach me immediately through email at MARIOXLOC at gmail. My contact information, if you contact through the email, I'll give you that information. Like you said, we got informants and detractors, brother,
Oh yeah,
all over the world. So
I'm not
yeah,
saying
no, it's fine. But I do
no.
want to network with brothers and sisters. So I asked them to reach out to me. Let's create a dialogue to where there's a level of trust, and we'll get that information out. Also, you can visit us every week, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at the study groups and Nation of Islam locations throughout your local cities. So if you're in the Oklahoma City area, our address is 1931 Northeast 23rd in Oklahoma City. You can visit me there if you would like to meet me in person, and I would love to sit down with you and come up with some solutions on how we can make ourselves useful.
Absolutely. Everyone, once again, thank you for joining us. And again, thank you, brother Mario X, for joining us as well.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Make sure you guys go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, Africa Personified on those same platforms. Make sure you go to africapersonified.africa, search for Uhuru.com, DynaSamir.com. Also go to Amazon.com, search your name, Dinah Samir, please buy a book. Again, go to Amazon.com, search your name, Dinah Samir, please buy a book. Until next time, family, again, peace.
Assalamu alaikum, family.